Welcome to the 2023 SUS CP Conference, the Edge of Opportunity podcast from St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. The Southeastern United States Canadian Provinces, or SUS CP Alliance, was established in 2007 to formally advance a common interest in enhancing economic ties between the two regions. The Alliance is a strategic trade and investment-focused partnership between 6 southeastern U.S. states and 6 Canadian provinces. This year's conference is focused on opportunities in the blue and green economies.
And welcome back to the Edge of Opportunity podcast here at SUS CP 2023. I'm Alan Dale. With me, as always, my good buddy, Jerry Carew. And we are Gale Force Winds. You know, the next interview, I feel like you're our co-host, Minister. You've been on so much. You deserve a spot on Gale Force Winds, a permanent spot. It's always great to have you. I keep telling you this, and I'm going to open the conversation this time with this statement, is that good things happening here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and there's good leadership behind it. We just had the Premier on, now one of his ministers of government. You guys are doing great work, and we really appreciate it. Talk to me about the optimism in Newfoundland. Tell me the good things that are going on.
You know what? I think the biggest strength we have is that there are so many people pulling together, all going in the same direction. When I say that, again, you know, you've got people like yourselves who, you know, are trying to do the right thing. But we're not going to get there alone. No. The fact that we have a business community and an academic community that are all pulling together and see the opportunities, and we're working together. And we've all been on so many conferences together where we continue to talk about the opportunities. I mean, right now, when you just hear the other states and the provinces speaking, there's so many similarities. They're talking about energy. We're talking about energy. They're talking about tech. They're talking about manufacturing. We're doing the same thing here. But I don't think anybody truly understands the significance of the opportunity here. Like when we are talking about being world leaders in energy, that's a pretty big deal. When we can be the difference, I think, in years going forward in terms of people needing clean energy, we have it. We're ready to distribute. We're ready to ship that throughout, not just Canada, but throughout North America, down throughout the eastern seaboard. There's so much opportunity here. But the biggest thing is that as wonderful as Newfoundland and Labrador is, we're not telling the story enough. We have to continue to tell the story because it's a big world out there. And when we get a chance, we have to continue to talk about what is going on here.
Which is interesting, right? Because Newfoundlanders, by our very nature, are good storytellers, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes I think we're a little bit humble in our approach. Well, you know, the good things are going on, right? But I think now we got to get a little loud here. We got to talk about this.
Absolutely. You know, it's totally a Canadian thing. I think is not. It goes against us to trumpet ourselves and to toot our horns. But again, we're not doing it on behalf of ourselves. We're doing it on behalf of a province. Yeah. The talking I'm doing today, I might not benefit me. It might not benefit us. But it's going to benefit our kids and our grandkids and the generations that come after. That's what I'm worried about. That's what everything we're doing now is to set that up. Not the meaning that there's no immediate opportunity. There is. But we've got to think long term. Yeah. And again, so part of that is that we shouldn't be ashamed to talk about all the good things going on in Newfoundland and Labrador and in Atlantic Canada. But sometimes I think we got to recognize that the audience is not our friends and compatriots here. Our audience are people living in Europe, people living in Asia, people living in the southern U.S. That is the audience, because they really don't know what is going on here. So whenever we get a chance to talk, that's why I'm on the show so much. I listen, I love the idea. If I can put on my business card co-host of Gale Force Winds, I'm down with it. That would be a huge honor.
Well, when you retire, you can come on with us. But you know, there is a healthy skepticism in Newfoundland, but I think people think it's almost too good to be true. But my point to people is what's happening in Stephenville, what's happening on the Burin Peninsula, what's happening in Argentia, what's happening in Gander with Eric Sprott's investment. There's money being spent right here, right now. But there's people in my own family who will tell me, oh, no, what's really, you know?
So, well, you know what? That comes with the fact that, like everywhere else, we're not the only place that has had are misfires when it comes to economic development, it comes to opportunity. Sometimes it feels bigger here because we are such a small province. We are all so connected to each other. We literally, if we don't know each other, we know each other's neighbor type deal. So it seems like it might hit bigger, but that's everywhere. Who hasn't had a misfire? Right. So yeah, don't get me wrong. We have to operate sometimes with a healthy skepticism. We don't want to be seen as believing everything that comes across here. But right now it's hard to deny when you look at what is facing us. And again, this is not us telling ourselves. When you have other jurisdictions, when you have other world leaders, when you have business, people that want to spend money saying, we'd like to spend it there, kind of maybe makes you think that, you know what, this is real. And so we have to, but like anything, it's not going to happen on its own. We need to develop it. We need to work together. We need to, and again, we have to incentivize people because every jurisdiction is competing right now to get that development. But we have a lot of things here that people just don't have elsewhere.
Oh, and one of those things are the people, right? And the people here, they want to lean into this. They want to see each other succeed. And we got to go get some people. The Premier was talking about maybe a trade mission to Fort McMurray to bring all those people home.
Well, you know what? The thing is that people want to come home, but people don't want to come home for a short period of time. So we have to make people recognize that the opportunities here are long-term. They are life-changing. So when we look at the subsea industry when it goes to the offshore, when we look at the hydrogen industry, when we look at the tech sector, these are things that bring you home and allow you to raise kids. That's what we need. People don't want to just chance having left to go away and do what you need to do and then setting up roots there and you have your kids. We need to give them that reason to come. They want to, but it's our job to make them recognize that it's a long-term opportunity, it's a long-term investment, and that it'll be a stable investment coming back home.
Minister, we've welcomed our Canadian colleagues from Ontario coming east to the province. We've had our friends from south of the border come up to this province. You must be walking tall in the room with everything that's going on and welcoming to this wonderful place.
You know what? Well, number one, I'm just happy that they're here. This is the exact people that we need to be talking to, leaders in the southern states who are all in the same shoes in the sense that economic opportunity and things that we're trying to accomplish, they're all trying to do the same thing. But when they come here and see it here, they might not have experienced that before. They're going to go home and they're going to tell the people they work with, they're going to tell their families, they're going to say, man, what a great trip to Newfoundland and Labrador. And in some cases, they're going to say, where's that? What is that? Yeah. And so our job is to give them that story to bring home. But again, I've been lucky enough to have to travel elsewhere, and we've got a lot to be proud of. We have a reason to walk tall here. And like I say, but I always like to do things in partnerships and teamwork. I believe that these connections we form will help us, because what's going to work in Alabama is going to work up here. And if we can find a way to get wins, everybody wants a win-win. And there's no reason we can't accomplish that, but sometimes you just need to form that relationship, and that's what happens at these conferences.
Well, we heard a lady from Georgia tell us that the speech or the keynote that Alan Doyle delivered was incredibly inspiring. And I'm telling you, I was so proud of him on that stage today. He sang 2 songs, but he's so much more of a, he talks so well about Newfoundland, and she was inspired by him.
If there's a brand that is Newfoundland and Labrador, there couldn't be a better, or more perfect spokesperson for it. And not just with the musical side, but the fact that he represents and embodies all of us. A good person who's funny, who can talk, who is proud of where they come from, spreads the message where they go. He's just an embodiment of all of us from every corner of this province that's proud of being from here, loves to talk, like which Newfoundlander and Labradorian doesn't love to talk about where they're from, wherever they go. And again, Alan's been doing it for years, but the fact that he took the time to come here and do it in front of this audience, I think it's a big deal for us to have him here.
An incredibly accomplished guy, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, and I think that's very appealing to a lot of people. On the theme of people, this whole conference has been put together. Everybody we've talked to, it's met their expectations and beyond. People are really enjoying themselves. That's your department. That must make you feel great.
Yeah, I mean, when you come here, and again, it's the perfect opportunity to come and make business relationships, to talk about economic ideas. but you know what? Do you really want to go somewhere and just do that, or you want, to have a little bit of fun? You're here at St. John's. If you don't have to look too hard, you might find a really good beer, a good restaurant, hear a song down the road. And for some of these individuals from the south, I think they're loving the temperature change. When they come here. It feels warm. To us, they're loving this. But yeah, look, whenever you can showcase what you do here, and we're going to do it this evening with Come From Away, which is one of the pride points that we've had in this province. And again, another one of those ties between us and our neighbours to the south. And sometimes we tend to take for granted or overlook our biggest neighbour, our biggest trading partner, our biggest friend to the south. And so when we can do anything to affirm those relationships, I think it's a good thing. But yeah, everything about this, I just love the fact that I can be involved. But I take no credit for this. I'm just part of an amazing team. They're here just knocking it out of the park. They've done all the logistics. They've done all the organizing. I just get to come and celebrate it like many of the others.
Yeah, and you're so right. I mean, your team is leaning into this. They haven't stopped since night it started, and they're keeping going.
And you know what? It's just a reflection of another thing we've been doing. Flying the flag over in Rotterdam. We're flying the flag when we go to the States. Just our department alone, when we're talking about industry and economic opportunity in Newfoundland and Labrador, they continue to do that hard work. They continue just to get it done. And again, I don't know what it is. Whenever we do something, when we go to Houston, we have the best booth. Everybody loves the Newfoundland and Labrador presence. We were over in the UK talking about ocean technology. Everybody wanted to find the Newfoundland and Labrador section. Our goal now is just to continue to make it bigger and better and sell the story of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, you can tell the excitement that you have for this province in your eyes when you speak about it. You light right up. And
same with, you know what? This is our home, and so the fact that I get to work doing this, it's not a job, man. This is just doing what any one of us would do if we can. We love our home. We want to make it better, and it sounds cliched, but it's the truth. I get to come here and meet a bunch of people, celebrate the province, and that's my job.
But on that note, work is something you do. Having you on several times, you came on the podcast to pre-promote Sioux CP. You were on vacation. I don't think the general public realizes the effort that you put in, and I'm going to personally say thank you to you for your service to this province. And this is not platitudes. This is not bullshit. This is truth, because we see what you're doing.
If I knew we could throw down with the language here, I would totally.
We had Mary Walsh on yesterday. You should have heard that.
Look, thank you. I'm not very good at absorbing praise, but look, you guys continue to do this for us too. This is what I'm talking about, the team effort. Yeah. This is the team effort. I'm just lucky I'm in this job right now to be this spokesperson. Someone else is going to come in and take it to it. But I won't lie about the fact that any day I can talk about Newfoundland and Labrador and have a bit of fun and get to do cool stuff. I mean, it's just awesome. I wish I could make it sound a little more eloquent, but it is what it is.
Can you sing a song like Alan Doyle?
Oh, hell no. Not a chance. But no, listen, everything. This is great. It's the first time I've been in one of these conferences, first time I think we've hosted in almost 15 years.
Wow.
And I don't think there could be a better time, because depending on when you host it, we are really on an upswing here on every front too. When you talk about our immigration efforts, like Jerry Byrne and his team are just getting people to come to Newfoundland and Labrador. When you look at what Siobhan and her team are doing, when you look what our crowd is doing, everybody is working together, and again, led by the Premier, and I've got to give him credit. He's been down here flying the flag as well. Yeah. We couldn't find a better spokesperson who loves to go around the world and talk about Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah. And sometimes we forget the fact that he could still be operating on people and doing that, having a pretty decent life, and this is someone who's chosen public service and chosen to talk about Newfoundland and Labrador on a world scale. Some days I wonder, man, that's pretty impressive.
Well, this is service, right? You guys are all, your team is serving, and as Jerry so rightly points out, thank you for your service. Well, that was another wonderful conversation on Gale Force Winds. I'm Alan Dale. This is another host, Jerry Crew, and our co-host, Minister Andrew Parsons, now a member of Gale Force Winds. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the 2023 SUSE CP Conference, the Edge of Opportunity podcast from St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. The 2024 conference is taking place in Biloxi, Mississippi, and we look forward to seeing you there.